Here's the plan. Can you guys handle it? This is all 16 gauge. Copper, not aluminum. Copper. Make sure. You could also use, what's it called? German silver, but that's going to be hard on your fingers. But that's, if you have that, it'll work. But I suggest copper. Anyway, if you can't fit the beads in the 16 gauge, for these extensions, you can switch to 18 or even 20 gauge. But stick to the 16 as much as possible. I only have 16 in this funny bright orange color. It's almost copper, but it's a little more orangey. Anyway, that's okay. We're just going to use it. So how much are we going to take for this? Just to be on the safe side, let's take almost 2 feet, about 18 inches. Maybe, it's about 20 inches. All right. We're going to start with the swirl here. So just go hold it tight like this. And curl around like that, and then you can just wrap it. I'm going slow only because I don't have this giant wires bumping into everything, but you'll have more room because you won't have a camera hanging down right on top of you. Make yourself a nice open swirl like that, and at a certain point, if you just hold it like this and pull from the wide part, you can get it nice and even and round. But at a certain point, if you want, you can also just take it with your fingers and roll it like that. I think that's good. So we're right about here. And so now we're going to come up, make a loop right here, top of that, and then you can roll it as tight as you like. You can use round nose if you need. Get a nice roll in there, but we're going to scarf it, so let's leave it a little bit bigger. And now we are just going to come out like this and start making loops. We're doing the same thing we did with the top one, but these loops are going to be smaller. You only need them to be big enough so that they can hold on to something that like a jump ring that clasps around them. I'm not exactly. I think we're just going to go straight out like this and just try to make them evenly spaced. So if one's too far or too, you can really adjust them like that to get them evenly spaced as you go. But it's a lot of just, unless you're going to take a ruler, which is no fun, it's just a lot of just eyeballing it. So I feel like this is, right, see where we are? Now we got to bend them in and see if it'll work.
Hi.
So this immediately is not going to work because these are straight down, and even if I put another loop there, they're not hanging horizontally as much as I want. So I'm going to have to pull this further down and see if I can get them to bend more this way. There we go. That's better. So they're further apart now, and this is really a kind of a struggle. You should really draw it carefully and then follow your drawing carefully, because this is one where the balance of where they end up is really important. So I got them pretty close now. But even this drawing is not exactly the way I would want it to hang. I would actually take a ruler and really try to get your geometric shapes really good. I know I say just mess around, but this is one time where if you don't line it up right, your pieces are going to they're not going to look staggered evenly. They're going to look kind of bunchy and then too much space. And so since I started without measuring, let's see if I can pull it back together. This needs more here, this needs more here, this needs to come out more. That's going to be the bottom one. So let's try this again. All right, let's see here. So this roughly, we want 2 inches, and every half inch we want a loop. So that makes it easy, right? And this is basically, we want a right angle here, even though it doesn't quite look like that now. So if we, let's see, how would we do this? Get anything square and make yourself the right angle, right? You know, you can go up a little bit too high with the pencil, because then now we're going to take the ruler and we're going to do our full exact how we really want it, which is, so we're going to do it 1 every half inch, right? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we don't need to even go up that high. Let's see if this will work. So if this is here, and then, yeah, that looks good, right? And then we don't have to do the last one, because we're only doing 3, and then the 7 altogether we had. So now let's see. Okay. Is that gonna work? We will find out. Interesting. I feel like this one looks cooler, right? Don't you guys think so? So let's pull back the loops a little bit. Let's make them a little tighter. So let's say the loops are right here, and let's say we can get them like more diagonal, as long as the tips of them is what matter. The tips is where, although it's going to hang not from the tip but from the lowest part of the loop. So keeping that in mind, I think we're getting closer to what we want. There we go. Now okay, and then this. Okay, that still looks a little bit, it looks like it's spread out way more. Like this still looks cooler, but when you actually have the pieces hanging, it's going to look way better. Because if we had the pieces hanging here, these pieces would be bumping each other too much, and then these pieces would be too far apart, and it just, the whole extent of it wouldn't look as good. So this is one place where measuring is actually going to make a big part of it. Let's go back to our piece. Let's see what we were doing. Can we save it from this one? Maybe not. Actually, we had it this way. Oh, so we are way off. Maybe if we go like that, that'll do it. But now we got to get this all the way over to there. Is it possible? Is it possible? No way. No, I'd have to redo the whole loop. So let's start over. We can still make this into something cool. Let's make it into something cool real quick. Yeah, this will be our experimental one. We'll finish it off later, so we'll have 2, and we'll see if it really does make a big difference. So I'm just going to do this real quick, not try to be crazy, amazing about it. Just so you get the idea. Come around here, and then scarf the top, and then cut it off. Not bad. This is kind of fun, right? All right, now let's do our proper one. And now it doesn't take a whole 1.5 feet. I just, 1 and 2 inches to be safe, like 14 inches. It's probably still too much, but it's better to have a little bit extra. So we start with the curly Q again. Not bad. And we're ready to do our top loop. Good. Now we're ready. Oh, this is so much easier. Wow, who would have thought measuring actually makes life easy? I always thought it just was a pain for those people who like to cause trouble. make life harder on the rest of us. I thought it was like basically a conspiracy. But there we go. Get that one right in there. Okay. We want it to bend it down a little bit more. Remember, this part doesn't have to look as pretty. It's more about getting the pieces to hang the way we want. Okay. So this first one is going to look a little weird. You can actually lay it right on your paper and just literally sculpt it right over your marker spots. It takes a little bit of finger muscle and stuff, but well, am I going to have enough? I think I'm going to have barely enough to finish. Maybe it's more than 14 inches. I go back and forth between trying not to waste wire and then taking too little. The struggle is so terrifying. Like, people who have really dangerous jobs, like ice road truckers and like people up on like 1,000-foot high power lines and stuff, and like those things you got to climb up way above the cloud line. Like, they don't know how scary our job is. Just let me tell you. And don't brag to them. You know, you don't want to make them feel bad, but we know how hard this is. It's just terrifying. I'm really liking this. Okay, and I'm out of wire. I don't have enough wire to get back there and scarf it. I really don't. I'm not going to try to fudge it. I'm going to do this over again. So yes, 16 inches. Take a full half meter to do this right, okay? My goodness. Now we have 2 of these to play with, which is totally fine. Get better each time at this. There we go. Finally, success. Now, when you finally go to scarf it, you want to line them up again with your drawing that was made with the ruler to make sure all the little loops are just where you want them to be, because they'll have moved as you're making it. No matter how careful you are, they're going to move quite a bit, especially the 2 outer ones. See how that's springing around like that? So you want to hold it with all your fingers, check them, make sure they're all where you want them to be. Press it tight like that, and keep that spot. How are you going to keep it? I don't know. Let's try holding it like that. Nope, it's bouncing back. But somehow we want to keep, you know, I think the only way is we're going to have to just take it off the paper and do our first wrap around the scarf and then put it back and see if it lines up. And it does not. So we got to pull it tighter. Got to undo it, pull a little tighter. Pull it back a little more. Let's try it now. Line everything up. And that looks good. Okay. So we got to keep it like that. Keep that tightness, that pressure. Now we can wrap the full scarf around. This might be better to try an 18 gauge. This is a little challenging on my fingers, and I've been doing this for like 10 years. So I have those finger muscles really, you know, I go to the wire wrapping gym 3 times a week, and I do my push-ups, and I do my sit-ups, and I do my my squats, which look exactly like push-ups, but you know, I know the difference. You wouldn't unless you went to the wire wrapping gym as often as I did. Anyway, get that scarf in there, pinch it in tight and deep, and now we have. Looks very welcoming, doesn't it? Looks kind of like the bat symbol. Welcome. It's like a what's it called? It's like a vampire of Dracula. Well, welcome to my home. Open arms. Let me fly over to the hors d'oeuvres. So now these loops, to make them, you want to make them a little flatter. Just kind of grab them and pinch each one. It helps hold the loop tighter. Pinch it in the opposite direction. It wants to unwind. You make it bend even more. Now this is a little loopy wonky. That doesn't look exactly perfect, but you know what? Only you and I know about it, so we'll just keep it hush-hush. No one's going to see that. They're going to be looking at all the pretty things dangling. So now we can take this, and we can like take all these these mistake ones. I mean, they look cool just the way they are. That would be a cool pendant, right? I think so. But I've limited amount of this wire, so I might cut these up and just wind them up and make cool stuff. But here's where you have the fun part. Here you just start making cool stuff. You can make, and I have I have several videos on connectors where you can just make really cool, funky things, but you can make, basically, you could just make figure eights. You can just make a swirl like this, and then put a loop going the other way. You can put a bead through there. I'm going to put a bead through this one. Make sure you have beads, the holes will fit the 16 gauge or 18 gauge. That'll open up more opportunities for beads. Most beads have a hole fit 18 gauge. 16, a little harder. Here's some fun 6mm, 8mm beads. I'm just going to use them as I see fit. There's some malachite, some red jasper, some amethyst, some brown and blue ceramic, some of this green, this yellowy green marble stone. Someone in our Facebook group found out what the name of that, and I can't remember what they said, but it's a little blue shell composite. It's kind of cool. Anyway, let's see where we want to put this. This cute guy here. Let's give him a malachite. Let's put that on there. Oop, it barely fits. Maybe my 6mm beads might not. I might have to stick to the 8mm, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. So just do this, and then you just, curl this guy around here. Have a little fun. There we go. Flatten it, make sure that all the sharp edges are tucked. Nothing is going to scratch anyone. And we'll just make a whole bunch of these little connectors with all different shapes and sizes, and then we'll pick some and put them together. Here's another one. You can start like you're going to make a curlicue, but then go back the other way and make a loop. Like that. Again, you should really practice with an 18 gauge. This 16 gauge is a little bit rough unless you've been using it a lot. But that's another cute little shape. Okay, it's better to make more than not have enough, and you never know how you're going to want to arrange them, but basically you are going to take your piece and just start having fun. Just start lining these up in a way that you think you might like, and use the connector pieces, the little pieces that go in between. Make crazy wild chains, hang things any way you think. And now, right off the bat, I can see I made really giant, these are really giant, and these loops are a little bit too tight, so these are going to be banging into each other all over the place, which is fine if you want them to be on top of each other, kind of like a crazy, crowded dance party in a club where everybody's just like, whoa, we are very close for comfort, but that's fun because we're just having a great time. So you can do little tiny ones if you want to be separate, little teeny tiny. You don't even need the stones. You could do just little teeny tiny ones, however you think will be good. Now you can connect them two different ways. You can just open and close the loops like jump rings sideways, wank wank, or you can turn them a quarter turn so they face like that. So when they latch onto the next piece, both pieces will be facing forward. One won't turn sideways. Or you can leave them the way they are and get jump rings. You can make jump rings with your wire, or just get jump rings a similar color and connect them with the jump rings. I find that's the easiest. But anyway, just have a lot of fun with this and just stick these guys together.